Okay, I got asked what was interesting to me about being involved in the shelter meal. And I thought, you know what, this would be relatively easy to get involved in. I think it's something, since I like to eat, I probably have some knowledge of and should be able to do okay with. And so that's how we started getting involved with helping the cooking portion of the shelter meal.
I realized when you would come home after cooking that it sounded like you kind of needed a little help. And I would get sort of irritated. Well, why? I heard people doing this and that, and I thought, well, you know what, I could do that. I know one person who goes to serve faithfully every month. She knows every single person that comes through that line, and she will say, "Hi, Marianne, how are you?" And I really admire that she has taken the time to get to know them, not as homeless people, but as just people.
When we're making the meal, a lot of times we'll stop and have prayer for the people that are going to eat our meal, and pray that by the generosity of our spirit, that people will get a sense that God cares about them. A couple of times I've gone down to the shelter to watch what's going on, and I haven't had a big sermon with anybody, but I've had a chance to sit down and eat with some of the folks. There's no great big sermon at the meal.
No.
There have been some kids that came and played guitars a couple of times, and I just think it was important to affirm the folks that are getting the meal. A lot of them have self-medication problems that they're involved with and hurting themselves, and some of the folks that get the meal are just really victims, and they have terrible health issues, and it's a great opportunity to reach out to them.
Yeah.
A couple of times when I've sat down with a shelter person, I'm just asking, well, how's the food? What's it taste like? And kind of gently said, you know, kind of tell me your story. And sometimes I think homeless people feel like they're invisible, and so I think my goal was to affirm them. I think it's given me a little more compassionate understanding for the people that I've come acquainted with, and by nature I'm not really sympathetic to people that are self-medicating.
Everybody has a story. Everybody's important, and as Dave said, some people are there because they're self-medicating, and maybe that's the reason they're on the street, but there's a reason why they're doing that. There's an emptiness there. They need someone to love them in a practical way. There's also people in what they call respite care. They may have had surgery, they're recovering, they have nowhere to go. I do love that there are a lot of different ways for people to be involved. If they want to help cook the food, that's great. If that's not something they feel they can do, they can come to the shelter and help serve. If they don't feel they can do that, they can bake brownies. If baking brownies is not their thing, prayer is always appreciated. Just pray for the people in the shelter that the meal we make would in some way bring them some steps closer to the kingdom.
We are not your ordinary family.